Hello, beautiful being. Hey, this recording's been taken from a live that I did not so long ago, and I wanted to break it down so that it was easier to see rather than sitting still for 45 minutes. So I'll leave you to relax. I'll let the music sit for a little while, and then it'll be on. As you come and just relax, because what we're going to do today is more about allowing stuff to be neutralized and resolved. And I know I put up doubt as the main focus, because it can take a fair while to get through doubt things, and we don't look at them. If you've worked with me here before, we don't look at these things. We just dive into your brain files and refresh them. And they'll either come out beautifully refreshed and ready for the next, or maybe not used ever again. So yeah, doubts just hold us back from who we think we are. And it's so funny because people come along in our world and they say things to us to encourage our doubts. They don't mean to. They very rarely mean to. Although I must say that people who are close to you, when they are maybe triggered or when they're kindly divided to say something, just look at the trigger, look at what it is that made you feel annoyed at them for saying whatever it was they said. You get what I'm saying? Like there's times when maybe your partner, husband, wife, whatever, will just go, they'll say something and you'll go, how dare you say that? But really what it is how dare I even allow to hear that? And that's again working with doubt. And just so that you know, I do know that when I'm speaking to you, my voice is utilized by your higher self, by your divine source, to allow you to hear what you need to hear. Does that sound like hugely improbable? Just allow it. Just allow it. Because I have talked to people afterwards and they said, oh, remember you said that? And I'm like, did I? Did I really? So I just now accept the magic of me saying stuff out of our mouth and you hearing what you actually need to hear today. And I love that. Again, I had so many doubts about that. I have doubts all the time. And when I work with you here on anything at all, I am doing the same work as you while I say it. So yeah. Going back to let's use the word trigger. It's a bit overused, so I kind of stopped wanting to use it. But have you ever had a place and time where someone that you really don't know says something and you really get it? They're not actually talking into what it is that you get. They've just said a random sentence, and in the course of all of that, something lands for you. I always think of that as a kind of an earth angel that's been used so that you can get it, here and here, yeah. So if you haven't had that, watch out for it and allow it, because allowing people to show you who you are is such inner magic, such inner awareness. I wouldn't be here doing this with you if someone who I didn't know, but we were in a group, a Zoom. I have so many doubts about what it is that I offer because not all of it is quantifiable with words. And I was in a group Zoom with the magazine that I was writing a monthly column for. And one of the ladies said something about my voice is magic. I don't remember the rest of what she said. All I heard was my voice is magic. And I had been told many times that I'll be using my voice in my work. And then another friend said about a mini meditation I sent to her when she was having a hard time. She said, oh, Linda, you've got to put this on Insight Timer. And I'm like, really? And I'm here because of random comments. So yeah, don't be annoyed at them. Look at them a little more. Yeah. So, are you relaxed? Are you relaxed? This is the time for you just to sit and be in a gentle space and allow your body just to relax. Now, while you're in this beautiful, gentle, relaxed space, I want you to just look behind your eyes in your mindscape. Keep relaxed and breathing, and just look into your mindscape, Imagineer land. And while you're doing that, drift your eyes over to the left. In Imagineer land, in your mindscape, your brain will be living over there. Your brain will show you what you need to see. If you don't see anything in particular, just feel it. Just know your brain is there. Of course your brain's there. When I look, my brain is busy at a set of computers, fiercely making sure everything's correct. Now, if you lift your gaze up and over to the right, there's a beautiful arc that you can look over. It could be a rainbow arc. It's a curve that you make in your own mindscape. And over on the right-hand side, you'll see a container filled with love. That container is whatever it is for you. Mine's a big love bubble box. Another beautiful friend uses a wash basket because that's for cleaning and clearing. This is whatever you use, whatever you see. Now, if you bring your mind back over to your brain side, over to the left, and ask your brain if it can find some files for you if you call them out. Just going to do them one at a time. Again, however the files arrive to you, that's your picture. Don't try and make it anything different. So ask the brain if it will find you a file for unsupported. Ask it to dig up the file for where you feel unsupported. And when that comes, lift that file up and over the arc and allow it to land beautifully and gently in the love bubble pile for neutralizing. What happens in that pile is the files are either neutralized or shone up for future reference. And you don't choose, it's okay, just allow. You don't have to control it. We're making the picture work so that the files can just be. Now take your inner eye back over to your brain and ask it for the file on frustration, on where you're frustrated. And carry that file up and over the arc and let it land in the love pile. Another file that I think we should find, if you come back to your brain and ask it to show you the file on shame. On shame. It doesn't matter, you don't have to look in these files. Please don't look in them. We're just refreshing them. It's all old stuff that just needs to be delegated to its correct place. So when the shame information comes up, just allow it to fly over the arc and land over into the love pile. Ah, let it be. come back to your brain, up here in your mindscape, ask it to show you the file on love, your file, the file that the brain's collected for you on love. And when all that's gathered, beautifully lift it and let it float over the ark and just land peacefully over in the love pile. Now come back over and ask the brain to gather the files on harmony in your world. And take those files now up and over and pop them in the love bubbles. And another one you can come back and ask your brain for is belief. Any belief that maybe has held you back, any belief that's lifted you up, any belief at all. Your brain may have held that in some different files. Just give it time to gather and then lift them over and pop them into love. And we've done a little bit of work on this already. So come back to your brain and ask it if it has some files on doubt that it would like to be refreshed. And while you're travelling those over to the love bubble pile, just say out loud, if your brain does not like what we're doing, just sit and listen in a meditative way and allow. Because sometimes our brains, our brains don't really like us doing new things. So don't be surprised if it's just balking a bit and not wanting to play this game. Just let it know it's fine. There are no rules. And if it wants to get rid of a file, then it can. But if it doesn't, it can just watch with you. Because that will normalize it. You shouldn't force anything like this. Now what about the file on seeing the next steps, on what your next steps might be, the clarity of seeing the next steps? Ask your brain to dig up those files. Now what about the file on being capable? Again, it's a plus and a minus, isn't it? What you might feel capable of and what you might not. Ask the brain to gather as many of those files as it can. Don't look at them. Don't think about what's in them. Just see the files floating beautifully up and over the ark and landing in love. Neutralized, ready for the next. And what about the file on what you've been enthusiastic about, or what you are enthusiastic about? The file on enthusiasm. Ask your brain to bring up those files. And now if you look back over to your brain, up in your beautiful mindscape, and ask it to show you the files on your strengths. carry that over the airwaves, over the arc, and land it in the love pile. Just stay in your relaxed mode. You could ask your brain if there are any specific files that it would like to clear today. After all that we've done, there might be something that your brain wants to refresh. Now, while you're sitting there just enjoying this freedom, this refreshing, I want to say, if you can remember to bring this into your world regularly, not necessarily in a meditative space, but when you see one thing that you don't particularly want used in your world, that your brain's got in its current file set, just do this in that instant in your head. I do it all the time now. I mean, I'll do a set like this with you or with courses that I do. But if I'm showing something, again, that trigger word, if I'm showing something, I just do it. I just go, oh, brain, do you have that file? Let's refresh it. Done. And you don't have to do it out loud. You might be in the middle of a conversation with someone, and they say something to you, and you are activated by that. And if you're just by yourself and you want to clear some files, you can start yourself off with a little written list, and then just allow what comes in to clear. Because your higher self will help you, source, your guidance will help you. It's your willingness and your awareness that brings the files up to be cleared. So yeah, your growth factor.